Hey everyone, this is Zach again. So, I only have 1 week left of school, and then finally I'll be free to make some more videos. So, if you guys are excited for that, because I know I'm excited to be done with school for a little while. But anyways, um, I just have a couple of things today that I want to go over. One is kind of like a problem, like I had in the last video. But it's also good just for life and death in general to know this move. So, let's see here. The first thing, I'll just go ahead and yeah. So, we know when you have this shape, or you should know when black has this shape. White doesn't generally want to go to Sansan because it's harder to live. Usually, white wants to go ahead and do something like around this area. Not this move, because this move is basically, uh, it will, you're not really getting into his corner for one thing, because he can just go ahead and do this, and now you're left to figure out what you're going to do. You're going to do this. Okay. Black doesn't have to protect his corner, so he can just go ahead and pincer you. So, don't ever do this. Anyways, so white going to Sansan, it can be played, but it's not usually played as much because you're confined to the corner, you live really small, it's not fun. So white's move they should make is this move, which I'm not sure if I went over before, but yeah, anyways. Variation goes something like this maybe, or oh, I don't remember. Anyways, it's kind of complicated, there's a lot of different variations, but white can live. Anyways, so I want to go over this move. So if white makes this move, he's automatically dead. But a lot of people don't know why, because if you just go ahead and play it out normally, then white lives. Black tries to take an eye here, white gets that. And vice versa, white lives. Of course, black could try playing the ko, but white gets to take it first, and in this case, obviously there's no ko threat, so white can go ahead and live easy here. Anyways, so that people don't understand why this is dead. So, this is where I wanted to talk about the move. So, haunting a lot of times is a good idea and is our first thought when we're trying to limit a person's eye space. Because when we're trying to kill something, we're trying to get rid of all its eye space. If it doesn't have any eye space, obviously it's not going to be able to make eyes. So, haunting is usually a good idea. Uh, or at least in the second line. But in this case, it's not, because one thing you always have to remember with Han is, on the second line, is that if you're trying to kill something, white making a move like this is always Sente. So you always have to think if it's if you're giving your opponent Sente and what they can do with that Sente. So in this case, black should Nobi. Because as you can see, if white goes ahead and descends, then this is in Gote. If white goes ahead and plays like he did before, it's in Gote. Obviously, if he plays like this, black plays here, white's dead. Although some people might not understand why this is dead either, because they think, okay, well now white's alive, black can't take away the eye. But black can just play here, because if white tries to take it, it's a false eye. Anyways, that's another good move to know, is that move on like S19. It's good for killing in the corner. Anyways, so this Nobi's good also, not just the Hane when you're trying to kill something, because the Hane you always have to think about Sente. Of course, you always have to read this out for yourself. This isn't like the standard thing that you always do all the time. In this case, it is. In this case, if your opponent plays like this as white, then always Nobi like this. But there's no way for white to live. White descends, black plays here. If white tries to make an eye here, black takes. White, there's no way to make two eyes. So white descending, obviously. Black doesn't even have. I don't think black has to respond here. Black plays away. White here. Uh, Dead this way. Um, Dead this way. In case you don't know why this is dead. It's dead. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no way for white to live here. Looks like it's dead. Anyway, you look at it. So, yeah, white descended right here. Black could just play away. Best effort for white would be to try to make an eye like this, but that doesn't even work. So anyways, a good to move to remember when you're trying to kill something is not just the Hane, but also the Nobi. Nobi generally, Hane generally, white can try to do something with Sente with it, and the Nobi generally not. So you always have to read these things out, but remember this move, because sometimes we get so caught up where we think limit eye space whenever you're trying to kill something that we just automatically make this move. We don't think about other moves. So yeah, I think this will help you in your game. Anyways, the other thing I want to talk about was it's actually something very common in the Orthodox Fuseki, which most of us know, I think. It's just Orthodox Fuseki is just this, where black has an enclosure down around P3 and R4 and has a stone going off it at Q16. That's just the Orthodox Fuseki. And so a common variation is just for white to split because, as I said in some of my earlier videos, black's trying to play here. And white doesn't usually want to split high because then he can get undercut if black tries to make a two-space extension. It's not usually black can undercut, and black usually shouldn't undercut right away because these two stones, aren't going to die right now. They're not surrounded. They have plenty of space in the center. But just because they can't die, that doesn't mean that you're not doing something wrong. I guess I should say, as white, because even though you're not dead, later black could have stones in the center somewhere around here, and suddenly you're in Gote because you have to come back and defend this group that's getting surrounded. So it's generally best not to play high here because then you can get undercut. And black shouldn't undercut right away because white really doesn't even have to respond to that. White can go ahead and just play elsewhere. Like, just go ahead and play elsewhere. Black keeps on undercutting, white keeps on playing elsewhere. And this is another case of over-concentrated. If black actually went ahead and did all of this, that would be really, really, really bad because there's like tons of stones of blacks trying to capture these two stones of whites that aren't even completely dead yet. And white has stones all over the board. So never want to be over-concentrated like that. Anyways, white doesn't usually want to do this because he can be undercut. Black doesn't usually want to undercut too early because then he'll get over-concentrated. Timing is very important in Go. Always try to think when's the best time to make a certain move. So anyways, this is the common variation I was talking about. Maybe I'll do an Orthodox Fuseki lecture sometime, I don't know. Anyways, this is just how it generally goes. And then black can do this, or theoretically could do this, but generally we don't do this. But anyways, this is another variation where white just does this. So some people wonder how this stone at R12 is dead. So obviously, if we go ahead and push out like this, or actually, no, first VP. So obviously we can't do this because then we just die. There's not really any way to kill anything. Uh, so we had only option is to block. So now when black pushes out and what Han is, obviously black can't do this or it's cut. Black can't do this or it's cut. So what about if he does this? This is where everyone thinks that black is escaped and black can get away. This is actually something I learned from Colossus also. You should check out his channel. Anyways, so the way you deal with this is when you see this formation at O13 and R11, where there's this hole at this point right here. If you're trying to surround your opponent, don't usually want to play right here. As most of you know the Go proverb, where it's like the vital point for your opponent is the vital point for yourself. But that's not always the case. In this case, it's not, because if white tries to play this vital point, then black gets to escape. So, if this isn't a move, what else? This case, this knight's move. Or this knight's move. Because now, black tries to escape. Obviously, if you go ahead and do this, obviously he's not going to escape. So do this, not really anything he can do. If he actually does try to cut something off, then he's not going to have enough liberties with that group in the center, and then in the middle. Tries to do this. This isn't going to work. If he does this, he's not going to have enough liberties. So the move in this case is to do this knight's move, or here. Here also works. Or sometimes it works. Sorry, not in this case. It doesn't, because there's a cutting point at O14. Because black can do this. It's because the cutting point at O14. But usually both sides work. So just to give you a simple example so you kind of get the gist of it. So it's kind of like when you have, well, let me do a more logical approach. It's like when you cap a stone like this, and there's this hole right here, and black plays it there, and we kind of freak out because we're like, okay, what do we do now? Obviously we can't do this, we've learned that from experience. Then generally what we do is here, or we do here to try to surround it. Of course, you have to remember with the knight's move, there's always these cutting points here that black can try to use. Like in this case, unfortunately it doesn't work. Black is to live, but of course he lives very small. White's very strong outside, and black just has these few points down here. And white gets this incente. That's another thing important also, is that you shouldn't always be going for killing your opponent. Try to gain something from it, because in all reality, the game of Go is just about getting points. And getting points any way you can, either by gaining influence and then getting points, or by killing a group. But killing groups is not always how you get points, so you always have to utilize every aspect of the game of Go to get points. Don't always just think about killing. So yeah, when your opponent tries to split you like this, usually you want to go this way, or you want to go this way. It's a good move for if you're even out in the center somewhere and you're trying to capture some big group and you have this formation. And you can remember this move. So I think that's about it for this lesson. So I hope you learned something, If you guys have any questions or anything, just hit me up on KDS or leave a comment or something. I think I already told you guys my account name, but the primary one I use is VIP. So, or ZEP, either one. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I should be making some more videos soon. And I'll see you guys all later.